Canada, not the only country working to pick up and bring home its citizens from the Diamond Princess cruise ship quarantined off Japan amid an outbreak of coronavirus or COVID-19. South Korea sent a plane Tuesday to collect the South Korean passengers and crew who want to leave the ship. Italy plans to do the same. Hong Kong's leader says 2 chartered flights will bring back more than 300 residents who will be sent to a newly built site for quarantine when they arrive in the city. Australia planning to airlift its citizens to Darwin, the country's northern territory.
For those more than 200 Australians who will be returning to Australia, we are going to have to require a further 14-day quarantine period. We'll also be providing spaces on our flight to New Zealanders, and I've been in contact with Prime Minister Ardern, and they welcome that arrangement as well.
The UK's Foreign Office tweeting Tuesday, given the conditions on board, we are working to organise a flight back to the UK for British nationals on the Diamond Princess as soon as possible. The US already brought back more than 300 Americans who are now under quarantine at military bases in Texas and California, where more than a dozen evacuees have tested positive for the virus. About half those left on the ship are Japanese. Officials say those who test negative for the virus could begin disembarking as early as Wednesday when the 2-week quarantine imposed on the Diamond Princess expires. And outside China, the ship marks the biggest cluster of cases. Hundreds have tested positive for COVID-19, including dozens of Canadians on board. Amid questions over just how effective steps taken on the vessel were in stopping the virus from spreading, the World Health Organization weighing in.
The authorities in Japan obviously initially made a decision to quarantine all their passengers on that ship, which allowed passengers to be kept together in an environment where they were could be observed and where they could have separate accommodations and everything else. This was much more preferable, obviously, at the time than necessarily having everyone disperse around the world. But obviously the situation on the ground has changed, and clearly there's been more transmission than expected on the ship, and I think the authorities in Japan are adjusting to that reality now.
In China, where the number of coronavirus cases continues to climb, the head of a hospital in Wuhan that's at the epicenter of the outbreak has died of the virus. The director of a hospital designated to treat coronavirus-infected patients is now one of the most prominent victims since the disease first appeared at the end of last year. For City News, I'm Melissa Duggan.